A vital coastal road linking communities in Ghana's Volta region has been crippled once again by the unrelenting force of tidal waves. The Salakope-Amutsinu stretch, a critical route for commuters and local trade, now lies partially submerged and broken, leaving hundreds trapped and promoting angry protests from affected youth. Volta regional correspondent Ivy Setoji has more in this report.
It began with a rising tide and ended with a road swallowed by the sea. This is a reality facing residents of Salakope and Amutsinu in the Ketu South municipality. The anger was swift. Youth in these communities staged a spontaneous protest, blocking the damaged road to draw attention to what they call government neglect. The tension nearly boiled over. Commercial drivers pleaded with the youth to open the road and allow passengers through, but for the residents, enough was enough. It took coastal protection expert Ishmael Kwawununu to calm the crowd and mediate, but his message was clear. This is no longer just erosion, it is a crisis, he said.
The situation we find ourselves in is a very critical situation. The citizens of this area are going through a lot. It is quite unfortunate that there's no level of response, appropriate response, I would say, from government and individuals. In any disaster situation, effective communication is the goal. However, it looks like there's some lack of communication and leadership within this community. Now, under normal circumstances, the NADMO or whoever the organization is should have had an emergency management system in place, where there is a communication officer, there's a liaison officer, there's a safety officer. When we got to this area earlier, the citizens of the area, the youth of the area, blocked the road. Now, blocking the road now prevented traffic. If you can see currently, the traffic is now flowing. I had to actually call on the stakeholders in the community and negotiate on behalf of the pedestrians and those who are applying the road to enable traffic to flow. And I don't think this is the appropriate situation, because if you do not communicate effectively to people who are in crisis, it makes the situation even worse. So I would think that, on behalf of the youth of this community, government should bring in the right individual, the appropriate individuals, and set up an emergency management center to deal with the situation appropriately, so that the youth are in a position to communicate with the right and appropriate individuals, so that the situation does not escalate. Because I can tell you without any reasonable doubt that this communication is, without the communication, the situation is going to escalate.
Well, this is a recurring situation. Let's engage Ketu South MC Nicholas Kwabla-Wolachi. Thank you for joining us this morning. Would you give us the update as to what's looking like today?
Hello?
Hi, good morning.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. What's the situation like for your people today?
Yes, as you are aware, the Tidal Wave discussion is on. It's been sporadic, and we've come to meet it again. But as you are aware, when NDC was in power, there was a serious and massive sea defense project from Kita to Blekusu. And ever since NDC lost power, for the past 8 years, not even a single stone was put there as a grind. So we have not come back to power, and we met with a similar situation. I can tell you for a fact that yes, apparently the situation is getting out of hand, and that the sea has not covered the road, is crossing the road or has crossed the road, and has entered the lagoon part of Salakope-Amutsinu. I was in the sea water myself to experience it. And I can tell you that, yes, the situation is getting out of hand.
Okay.
But that notwithstanding, we are keeping faith in the NDC government. We are keeping faith in the leadership of the current government. We are keeping faith with His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, who visited the place 2 months ago when the first strike of the Tidal Wave occurred.
So if I understand, we sleep and wake up hoping that there won't be such a situation while we keep faith in the government. I mean, you have just mentioned that at the time that NDC was in power, you started some sea defense projects. And of course, it stalled because then the NPP took power, and now you're back in power. But prior to today, it's been 4 months since the president came to give us some promises at the time that it started this year. Have we made any progress in the conversation to curb this situation? Have we, in any way?
Yes. A minimum budget of 200 million has been slotted into the first budget. And that was the time His Excellency John Dramani Mahama visited the place at Gabeji. And yes, plans are underway. You know, these projects, sea defense projects, is indeed capital-intensive one. So you don't have to rush and invest money into areas that will turn out to be unprofitable without producing value for money. So I know, even though if visibility studies were done in the past, the way the sea is devastating now calls for another visibility studies to know the kind of solutions that will be a lasting one that will be prophetic to this. Some people, experts, are talking about dredging. Some are still talking about using the groins, the hard rock, to do the sea defense. So these things are on the table and being considered at different levels. But that notwithstanding, we cannot be waiting for that major project to be rolled out. We need to now be responding swiftly to the plight of the people, which His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is doing, which the Member of Parliament, Honorable Ablaj Vagomasin, is doing, which the Regional Minister, Honorable James Goun, is doing. Quickly, what we did last 2 weeks was that we quickly ordered a tent to be provided. A 40 tent has been provided, has been ordered by the Regional Minister, and I've been tasked with the responsibility of having a safe place field for the people to move in. I can tell you that, yes, it's true. As the water has ravaged the homes of the people, their belongings are now submerged into water, and then they have to be moved from that place to a safer place. That's what we are doing now. So
currently, as we speak, the displaced persons are being taken care of. Is this what you mean? You're relocating them to a safer place.
The relief items were provided last week.
Okay.
And it's still being provided. And we are saying that we are now creating an access road from a point to another safer place where the place will be filled for them. And this is what we are doing now. Struggling for resources to do that now. And this is what we are doing now.
How much damage are we talking about? How much damage is caused so far?
Oh, a good portion of Gabeji has been affected. Part of Salakope has been affected. I can say 5 houses have been affected, and one house to be inhabited by 10 or let's say from 6 to 10 people, because we encourage neighbors to be neighbors keepers. So some people whose houses were previously destroyed are putting up with their colleagues and their friends in other parts. So these houses are also now submerged into the water. So in one house we could have inhabitants of 10 to 15.
Okay. Are residents going to be allowed to stay in this temporal location until you have a near permanent solution, or you have...
Yes, that's how it is. The question is obvious. The answer to the question is obvious. That question, pick it again. Are they going to be allowed to stay in a permanent, in a temporary location? Yes.
No, I'm asking, are they going to be there until we have a permanent solution? I'm asking.
Yes, that question is not there again, because they must be somewhere until a permanent solution is provided.
I mean, I asked this because it's not the first time. When it happened, we understood that they were giving temporal location. And now it's happened again, which means that they might have moved to this area again, and then they are affected. And so I'm only asking whether you're going to ensure that they live in the temporal position. Otherwise, they're not just going to observe that a wave has gone down and then they go back to where they were living. So we're not reporting the same story. Yeah?
No, you see, there is a characteristics pertaining to that. You see, our people who are affected are fisher folks. And it is absolutely psychologically problematic for them to leave the coastal area or the coastal line into the hinterlands because of their fishing gears and what they are used to psychologically, and culturally and socially. So the place we are providing for them now is a place where it's not a bit far away from the coastal area, where they can have a place to lay down their heads and their belongings kept.
Okay.
That's what we are doing. Okay. I can tell you for a fact that a large regime provided some areas, and a lot of cash has been invested into that. But when you go to the place now, and you are told that a quantum, a huge quantum of cash has been stuck into that project. If you see the project, houses that were built for people to live in as a temporary resettlement area, those structures are nothing to have hope about. It tells you that magic happened in the past.
Okay.
Magic, magic, sarcastic magic happened in the past.
Magic?
The houses for reallocation are now dilapidating. They've been eaten into by the salt, and they are even collapsing. So it means these houses must even be demolished and rebuilt. And you can see that cash has been gone, has been wasted.
All right.
That investment has been wasted. So we are now trying to re-engineer the whole system, provide a temporary place for our people, and as we wait for another temporary solutions, and then we tackle the sea defense project as a major project.
Okay. All right. Thank you for talking to us. I'll now engage Joel Dig. He is environmental expert, tourism promoter, Keta. Thank you for joining us this morning. I mean, for an environmental expert and a tourism promoter, I really wonder what you will be promoting in an area that is quite volatile like this, especially to waves. Tell me the situation from your perspective.
I'm grateful for the opportunity. And as the MCE of Ketu South just said it, that is the situation on the ground. It's not a palatable one because over 100 houses in those 3 adjoining communities have been destroyed, and about 600 people have been rendered homeless. And as we speak now, there's no single house at Gaveji end and Salakope, which is between the road and the shoreline. As have been reported, the waves have now had their freeway to move over the land onto the road and into the lagoon, which is on beyond the community. Yeah, so truly speaking, there's no single house at some portions of Salakope remaining there. And according to some of the old folks I spoke to, while they were growing up in those communities, they could see not less than 400 meters of land before the shoreline. So if we go by basic conservative figures, even if it is 200 meters, that is about 2 sizes of a standard football pitch that has gone into the sea. So we have lost heritage, we have lost ancestral land, we have lost homes, we have lost cemeteries, and we lost even forest grove. The super forest grove between Salakope and Agaveji is also gone. Yeah, so the situation is not a very good one.
Do you think that our people
as the road is now,
right? Please proceed.
As the road is now, the road is no longer pliable.
Do you think that our people who live on that stretch understand the situation very much? You know, because when it happens, as the MC is saying that we usually will provide temporary accommodation or provide some supplies for them as well. But not long after, because of the nature of their work, he has mentioned psychologically, economically, they are likely to move back again. And then when there's a wave, we report the same issue. Do you think that enough engagement and education is being given to our people who live in this area and that stretch to understand the real consequences of this?
No. My answer would be a direct no.
Okay.
As the earlier intervener said, you know, crises are managed when a certain system of communication is put in place. That everybody knows exactly what is going on and what each one is expected to do at a particular time. I want to be frank here. Those provisionary shelters they provided earlier, I don't even know whether people settle in them because the place wasn't completed. The place was being worn away by the sandy nature of the place. Actually, when the president was there, we all visited the place and saw the nature of that structure. It's not anything that could accommodate 10 families. Yeah, so what needs to be done now is to call on humanitarian organizations. If government is not in position to do it, you should call on UNHCR, call on World Food Program, call on some other, big international organizations. They could bring in tents to set camp around. I have already identified a place before the police station. That's going to be a Dafinu area. They clear those areas with the small bush there, set up. It's still around the coast.
Okay.
They could have access to the coast and do whatever they want to do there.
Okay. Okay, so, well, the MC is assuring us of a 200 million allocation for at least a sea defense, but thinks that there has to be more engagement. But thank you for bringing us a situation as it is, Joel. Thank you so much. Bye.